What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
And my name is Joe Bunn.
How are you, Joe?
I'm good, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to our annual music show. Every year, Joe and I, in October, in the month of October, we talk. We have one show devoted just to music, and we've been doing that for 4 years, but we just found out last week that is a tradition. So thank you. I forget again who
I can't remember who said that either.
Somebody sent us both a message and said, are you doing your annual show? And so why not? We're always looking for good content. So yes, welcome to our annual music show, and I am pumped. We should actually make this a biannual thing because I love it so much.
I agree. Let's make that a new goal for next year. Twice a year music show.
Before I explain the format and what Joe and I will be sharing, let us also mention we still have this ongoing contest for a opening and closing. Are we calling it what? Is it a jingle? Is that a cheap name for it? A jingle for our.
I feel like Stern would use that word.
Yeah, for the podcast. We've gotten some great submissions already. Thank you very much for the people who have sent them in. The deadline is Halloween. So you still have a couple of weeks to come up with something. People ask us, is there a specific script that they were looking for? No, not really. You can kind of mirror or copy what's been done most recently and going back to our original ones. But specifically, we would like to have something mentioning we have now more than 200 shows in the book, because I think that's something we're super proud of. So if you want to work that into the script, it'll probably help your chances of winning. But I mean, what else are we looking for? A good musical bed, an exciting intro, something that sounds cool, something to kind of kick off the show, right? Is that what we're looking for?
Works as we've witnessed. Did you listen to Rob Ferre's yet?
I did. No, I haven't. That was the one that just came in yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I haven't yet.
See, I've only gotten a couple.
We told people, email them directly to me,
Mike at eliteentertainment.com. So Mike and I are going to have to. Yeah, me and Mike are going to have a meeting right before or right around the day after Halloween, let's say, and listen to them together, because we haven't done that.
Yeah.
And definitely we will record that, because I've had a lot of people reach out and say, we want to hear like who didn't make the cut. So
I think for our 200th show,
that would be great.
No problem doing longer than a half hour. I mean, if we have a number of different topics, maybe even bring in some guests that want to kiss our ass and talk about what a great, impact we've had on their lives and things like that. We could do that. And I think we should, I don't know if we need to play every submission, but I think we should play what we deem to be the top 3 or the top 5.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And then make a big announcement. Maybe we can, I don't know, who knows? We've never really taken the production level of the show too far, so it's not like we can include a drum roll or anything. But
right.
Anyway. So for the music portion of this show, here's the format that I came up with. I said, Joe, I'm going to give you 8, what do we want to call them? Genres of music or areas of music. And within each one, I want you to give me 2 of your most popular songs that you play, and then one sort of obscure one that fits in, but you would only do it if you have like specific fans of a genre, right? Does that make sense? I mean, I think every DJ likes to drop that song that people go, oh my God, I never thought I'd hear this. But you can also take that too far to an extreme and clear the dance floor with obscurity. So you when you try to find that obscure but recognizable song, does that make sense? You want to get something that's in a wheelhouse, but not everybody would think of.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So
you want to,
let's start with ballads. Let's start with ballads because most of us open the dance floor with a slow song. So let's start with ballads. So Joe, give me 2 kind of no-brainer, your most popular go-to desert island ballads, if you would.
No-brainers. Okay.
And then your obscure ones.
These are easy for me. I don't play a lot of ballads. I think maybe in the South, we also might get a shorter dance set than you guys, Mike. So I may only get to a couple. You know what I mean? In the 2-hour or so dance set. Unchained Melody and so Righteous Brothers and Thinking Out Loud, Ed Sheeran.
Very nice. So you gave me an old one and a younger one. Can I tell you, here's one of my biggest problems with Unchained Melody. It has such a big crescendo finish that I find it hard you can't really voice over that. You don't want to voice over that. And you certainly can't go into another slow song.
No.
or I don't think you can. So
No.
if you play Unchained Melody, you're pretty much committed to, I am picking it up after this song. I think Unchained Melody is great, but that's one of the reasons that wouldn't be one of my two. So my two are At Last by Etta James.
Great one.
I love that song because it is such a long, I think it's like a 30-second instrumental, so you can say a lot during the voice up. And I know people who know me and know my training would probably expect me to say Can't Help Falling in Love, but I'm not. I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. The Way You Look Tonight by Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
It's mid-tempo slow. It's more of a foxtrot, but I was thinking about this in preparation for the show. I could probably count on my hand the number of events in the last 5 years that I didn't play The Way You Look Tonight. It is such a classic, wonderful, beautiful, perfect mid-tempo. So I usually go slow song, Way You Look Tonight, and I play it at almost every event.
Yes, Freddie over in the chat, right before you said it's not Can't Help Falling in Love, he typed Can't Help Falling in Love. He knew you were going to say that.
Right. All right. So, and one of the reasons why I went At Last as opposed to Can't Help Falling in Love is that voiceover. Can't Help Falling in Love is only 8-second intro, so you have to really be brief. Whereas that At Last, you can say a lot more. So, give me your obscure ballad. Your oh my God, I can't believe he played this.
Man, it's not that obscure. I mean, I guess it would be obscure for me because I'm not really known to play country, but Thomas Rhett, Die a Happy Man.
Oh, that's cool. That is a great song.
So much.
Yeah.
It damn near brings tears to my eyes. I don't know why. It's so good, though.
I can see why.
It's just so well written, and it's just, I don't know. It's just a great one to me.
Yeah.
How about you?
I went a lot older. I went with Sea of Love, but not the original. The original is Phil Phillips from 1959 or 60. I went with the Honey Drippers, and I do play this one on a fairly regular basis.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, and again, similar to At Last, it has a really long, beautiful instrumental opening, so you can say a lot. You can open the dance floor, invite the couples up, blah, blah, blah. And it's one of those songs that, to me, hits a lot of generations because the original, like I said, goes back to the late 50s, early 60s. The remake that I play goes back to the mid 80s. And then a lot of people have covered that song. Even recently, I looked it up in preparation. There have been versions in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's one of those classic songs that just keeps being remade. And so I think every generation will probably recognize it. And I still do play that one on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, that's a great one. I haven't played that in a million years, to be honest with you.
Bust it out.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, and I do play Die a Happy, especially when I have a country crowd.
Yeah,
it's one of my go-to. I think it's a beautiful slow song.
God, it's a great song.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to pick up the tempo, and every genre here that we talk about, we're looking for. You went with dance songs, right? I didn't specifically tell you to do that, but yeah. All right, so let's go 50s, 60s rock and roll. Give me.
I had a really hard. I'm gonna go. Can you go first on this? I had a really hard time with this. I don't know why. This was the one that luckily the game went into overtime last night, so I was doing this at 11:30.
That was some good. That was a good football game last night. We're recording this on Tuesday morning as opposed to Wednesday. So what we're talking about last night is the Monday nighter, Chargers Saints, and Chargers probably should have won the game. They took the field goal off the. All right, back to music.
Anyway.
50s rock and roll. Again, if you know my training program, you knew I was going to go Run Around Sue. I used to do the twist, but lately I do Let's Twist Again, just because they beat mix perfectly together. I love Let's Twist Again because it ends cold. It ends on a boom, so you can kind of go I don't even try to mix out of Let's Twist Again. I just wait for that cold ending and then go in a different direction. But those two are my no-brainer 50s, 60s rock and roll if I want to get things started. And what I love about them is they appeal to multiple generations. You'll drop Run Around Sue and you'll see the 25-year-olds out there dancing.
I was Run Around Sue. And so that, by the way, leads me into what we were saying. I didn't want to spoil it, but so Unchained Melody ends in that big way. Yeah. And then I would probably run off the beginning, the slow part of Run Around Sue.
Oh, you would? Oh.
Yeah, because
I would start Run Around Sue from the beat.
No, I would go, So
you would? Okay, so you start at 22
That's what I'm
seconds
saying.
All right,
yeah,
great.
exactly.
I thought you were saying you would come out of Unchained Melody and then go, here's my story.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Twist and Shout, the Beatles.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll count that. Yeah.
And then my obscure, which is again not very obscure, and I really don't know that they could be considered rock and roll, is I still get a great reaction from the Contours. Do You Love Me? Maybe that's more of a soul record, though.
No, I would kind of count that. I mean,
there's definitely no screaming guitars in it.
Yeah. You know what I like about that song? I actually have a very good redrum transitionals. It takes me from like 112 up to the 150s. I just played that this past week. Somebody asked me for Do You Love Me? And I dropped that in. I'll accept that. I think that's good. So my obscure 50s, 60s, in other words, if I have a group that just loves that genre and I want to kind of surprise them, it's a song from 1962, Chris Montez, called Let's Dance.
Wow.
It's got a great beat to it. And it wasn't that obscure because it actually hit the top 10 in 1962. It hit number 4. So it wasn't exactly like a nobody ever heard of it. But I think it's to me, it has sort of that California beach sound kind of rocks feel to it. But I love it, and I don't play it all the time. But like I said, if I have a group that just they've shown me that they love that genre and that era, I'll drop that in, and I'll get some people turning around, like giving me thumbs up.
Like you're doing it. Yeah, okay.
And by the way, the Ramones covered that song on their debut album. So if you want an even, and I've never played the Ramones version at a gig, but if you're looking for something cool, the Ramones actually covered that song. What was their debut? 76, I think. On their debut.
About right.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's 50s, 60s rock and roll. Let's go to Motown, 60s R&B, not specifically Motown, but the all.
Yeah, that's what I did keep it Motown because that's what the notes said, but I probably could have gone. This is my. It's what I grew up on, not because I was born then, but because my parents, this is what I always heard.
Right.
Even now, my parents always, bless them, man. That's why I do what I do, man. They love music. They're still married. I could walk in on them on a Wednesday and they don't even expect me. And I'd walk in that house. I guarantee there would be music playing.
And it'll be specifically 60s or
no, now, what's funny about them is, so they still are on CDs. They have cell phones, but for the life of them,
hey, at least they're not still on vinyl or 8-track. So
they are not.
They took one.
They jumped a couple of leaps, but they're a CD having bunch of people. They got the book. You remember the books that you flip through, and I keep them supplied. I don't even have a way to burn them anymore, so I just go to Target when anything comes out I think they'll like, because my dad loves country, or anybody that's like soul driven, so like Leon Bridges or like anybody that sounds like an old band, they're gonna love it. I Want You Back, Jackson 5,
great one.
I mean, that piano, boom, it just goes like however you want to drop it in, it works. And then always Signed, Sealed, Delivered, Stevie, always.
Yeah, that song.
Always. Yeah. That's like one of my first 3 songs I usually play.
Yeah. And Save Your Obscure.
Okay, saving it.
So and by the way, just in case you don't know, what when Joe and I are drawing the line between Motown and 60s R&B, Motown was a record label.
Right.
I think that our listeners probably should know this, but let's just go through it real quick.
Sure.
Motown was a record label out of Detroit, which short for Motortown. That's how they came up with the name Motown. That specifically did a lot of 60s R&B and 60s dance music, that kind of thing. Not all 60s R&B was on the Motown label.
That's correct.
So we call that era Motown, and we call that genre Motown. For example, Aretha Franklin's Respect technically is not a Motown song because she was an Atlantic recording artist.
Correct.
So, but if you ever opened a dance floor and played Respect and said, hey, we got a little Motown for you.
Unless you're in Detroit, maybe.
Somebody, if you're in Detroit, but somebody might walk up and go, she wasn't a Motown, but most people wouldn't know the difference. Anyway, so
I stuck to the roster, put it that way. I
didn't mean to get you.
It's okay. No, I would have put.
Respect would be a perfect example. I didn't put it on mine, but it could.
I would have.
Be a no-brainer. I went with Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Temptations, and Can't Help Myself by the Four Tops. So both of them are in that 120-ish BPM range, which I think is great for people dancing. And I've got redrums or remixes of both of them that just make it super easy to mix them together. And those are kind of my 2 no-brainer Motown 60s R&B. So now give me your rarity.
Again, not a super rarity, but I I would be remiss not to mention my man Marvin Gaye. Got to Give It Up. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
See, I would almost put that in disco. I think that's early 70s. And it's certainly as music was blending into the disco era. But he certainly was a Motown artist. So I can't correct you there. Yeah. So I'm going to give you two here. I'm going to give you a rare and then a super rare one.
You're right.
Okay?
Sorry, Mike.
That's okay. Supremes, Come See About Me.
Ooh, I love that.
And when I looked it up, it was actually a #1 hit. So I can't say it's that rare, but I certainly don't think most people think of it when they think of their top 5 Motown songs. But it's a catchy song. Come see it. You know what I mean? Like most people would recognize it. So I wouldn't drop it as my first Motown song, but if I get a great reaction to it, I drop that. Now, my super obscure, and you got to have people that really know their 60s music, a group called the Miracles, they were on the Motown label, but they weren't never that popular. And they did a song called Whole Lot of Shaking in the Heart. I think it's a great song. I can't believe it wasn't a huge hit. Didn't even crack the top 40. But I'll throw it in from time to time if I've got a group that I can tell really knows their 60s music.
Yeah, I blew my year on that one.
That's okay.
That is.
But it's a good segue into 70s disco.
Absolutely,
which is the next genre.
Yeah, you want to give me my two go-tos?
Yeah, give me your go-to disco songs.
Always Boogie Shoes, KC, over Get Down Tonight, always. And man, as much as I don't like it, Dancing Queen still just goes all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing a trend here. You're giving me a lot lower BPMs than I am. Most of my BPMs, I think that 120 range. Is the sweet spot. And
that's
so my two, You Should Be Dancing in September. September's actually, I think, in the 130s. But those are my two no-brainers. BG's You Should Be Dancing, and obviously Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. I can't remember an event where I didn't play September. It's just, to me, it's either early in the night, and then if I didn't get to it early in the night, I throw it in, and it goes in. Like if I'm in that 130 BPM range with new music, with Pitbull, and Black Eyed Peas, I can still play September and get a great reaction.
Yep, me too. Me too.
So those are my two no-brainers. Give me your obscure disco.
Again, man, you're right. I'm the low tempo guy,
and there's nothing wrong with that, Joe.
I'm Get Down on It. Cool in the Gang. Over Celebration.
You reminded me of that's the first time we did a music show. And I put it in my playlist, and I do drop that from time to time. That is a great song that I had forgotten about.
It's more funk, I guess, than disco. But
definitely is. So mine is a song that never charted. I just personally love it. The artist is Kelly Marie. The song is called Feels Like I'm in Love. I know that. It is, to me, you want to cheer me up. If I'm depressed or in a down mood, just drop that song for me. I'm automatically, talk about how music can change your mood. I just automatically flip the switch, and I can't help but smile ear to ear. I just freaking love that song. So it's probably my own. I know I always tell programmers, don't let your personal taste get in the way. So that's probably one of those situations where I let my personal, but I think it's such a great, happy, upbeat song.
I've got to go back and listen to that again. My honorable mention, little mini mix here, Mike, would be Best of My Love into, oh my God, I just totally spaced out. Best of My Love. I love that song.
That's another happy, upbeat. Just the intro on that. Yeah.
Anyway, that's one of my honorable mentions. Cool. There's a little mini mix I do with that. All right, moving on.
80s pop. Okay. 80s pop. So I didn't really give you anything but that.
Right.
So you can go in any direction you want. Give me your two no-brainer 80s pop songs. And by the way, I have two obscure ones on this because I couldn't decide between the two. So I'm gonna.
That's okay. It's okay to throw in an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Billie Jean.
Ooh, the first time Joe and I have the same one. Billie Jean was.
Oh yeah. And I Want to Dance with Somebody, Whitney.
Nice. Yeah, I could have gone with that one. I went Billie Jean and Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yep.
They're the two no-brainers. They actually beat mix perfectly together. So you can do no wrong with the two of them. So if those two get a great reaction and you say to yourself, wow, this is a crowd that loves their 80s. So you're going to try to dig a little deeper. Where does Joe go?
Man, and this has only been in the last year or two, and it's one of those songs, just like you said about the what was the one you were just talking about that makes you happy?
Carl, it feels like I'm in love.
Dude, Higher Love, Steve Winwood. God, I love this.
You're talking about it as a dance song?
Yeah, dude, yes.
Wow.
Mainly because I think that people got more familiar with it this year with that Kygo and
yeah.
God, dude, I'm telling you.
I play that song often, like cocktail hour or while salads being served. I can't imagine dancing people.
I promise you. Try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many short mixes of it, and people have redrummed it and stuff now. Like it'll go off. By the way, rewind 2 seconds. Best of My Love into To Be Real. That's my little mini mix. 70s.
Yeah, To Be Real is another.
Yeah.
I would consider To Be Real to be a little bit of a obscure one. I don't know how high that started, but I don't think most people think of that. But
those two go together well.
If you've got a great 70s crowd and you drop To Be Real on them, they will blow up. That is, I don't even know if this term is in, I probably shouldn't even use it anymore, but there's a genre of music that I call chick songs. And that is one of those where the women just react on the dance floor. They just, they love that one. So 80s pop, we both did our popular ones. What's your obscure 80s pop? Did you?
No, that was it. Higher Love. Yeah.
Oh, Higher Love. That's right.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've got two here. Jermaine Stewart, we don't have to take our
God, so good.
Number 5 song from 1986. That is such a great, again, brings me back to my youth and going to clubs and singing along to that song. I don't even know what cherry wine is, but they sing about it in that song. It sounds disgusting, actually, to me.
We have a soda here called Cheerwine, and it's my favorite drink in the whole world. But I don't think that's what he's saying.
No, I think he says cherry wine.
I know.
And then the other one is Eddie Murphy's one and only top 10 song from 1996.
Party all the time.
My girl wants to party all the time.
I forgot about that. Dude.
Again, when you have a great, it has to be a really good 80s crowd.
Yeah.
If they don't really care about the 80s, they're going to leave the dance floor for this.
Right.
If they are dialed in and all in on the 80s music, and that's a high one. I think that's like 135.
Yeah.
Up there BPM wise, but just when the bass kicks in on that song, people recognize it. It is a great song. Yeah.
Man, the comments on Facebook are excellent, man. People are throwing out all kinds of great stuff. Yeah, go back and look at this mic after.
So this one is more your wheelhouse than mine. So actually, you can go on for as long as you want. 90s hip hop, and again, this is more your genre than mine. So I'm expecting to hear some good things. What are your 2 no-brainer 90s hip hops?
My no-brainers, we probably we'll do this next time we do this, Mike. We'll do a 2000s hip-hop too, because there were a lot that I started to pull or thought were in the 90s, but my brain is just so jumbled with music that I've obviously, because I just told you got to give it up, was 10 years older than it is, or younger than it is. Drop It Like It's Hot always goes over. And I usually start it from the boom, the boom, the boom. Like, to me, Pharrell, as a producer, can do no wrong. So Drop It Like It's Hot. Party Up, DMX just absolutely still slays, no matter the age. And you want me to save my obscure? Yeah,
save your obscure. My 2 no-brainer 90s hip hop is Hypnotize by Biggie.
God, I love that.
Those 2, I often play them back to back, and I just think that they crush for me.
Wait, which one? Hypnotize and then what?
California Love.
Oh yeah,
by Tupac.
Both of those.
Yeah,
both of those.
So and you can give me as many obscures, because like I said, I know this is your sweet spot here. So
I mean, again, I kind of got into these, the hype tracks, which is, Let Me Clear My Throat.
Great.
But my version has been chopped a little bit, and unfortunately, it just is relabeled as like best version or best mix. So I don't know exactly where it came from, but it starts with some of that call and response stuff he does at the end. Make some noise.
Oh, okay.
And it starts differently than like the radio edit.
Right.
And I thought that Be Faithful, with Fat Man Scoop was from that era, but I think it was early 2000s. So
I wouldn't have known, so I wouldn't have corrected.
I'm just going to go with Let Me Clear My Throat.
I got a request for this song a couple of years ago, and it was a crowd that loved their 90s hip hop. And it went over huge. Big Pun, Still Not a Player.
God bless America.
And
I love that. Was on my list.
That one, that's now in my hip hop folder, but I know don't do this unless they really love their 90s hip hop, because it's not the most popular. I looked it up. It hit number 24 in 1998, so it wasn't a huge hit. But man, when I have a crowd that loves that genre, and I've played a couple of no-brainers, and I can tell, and I drop that song, I get some looks back like, oh man, I can't believe you went there.
Hot tub, popping bubbly. I love that joint.
Yeah. So that's fine. So 90s pop.
Yeah, this is
and this is the genre that has been red hot for the last number of years. I don't know if you're finding it.
I am.
It's starting to cool off for me.
A little bit.
There were a few years there where you could drop any of these tracks and blow the place up.
Any boy band.
And again, just think about the age of your typical bride. That's why the last genre we're going to touch on, I think, is the most important nowadays. But 90s pop, it's still hot for me, but it's slightly cooling off. So what are your no-brainers?
Bye Bye Bye, NSYNC. I like the Scooters version of that. It's got a little more drama, and it kind of starts almost anyway. Find that on DMS and or the regular, whatever. And then Wannabe, Spice Girls, obviously.
Okay, so we finally have another repeat. I went with everybody, Backstreet Boys into Wannabe, and when I say into, I play those two back to back so often. I can do that.
I could do that. Yeah. I could see that.
But yeah, those two crush for me. And then when I get a great reaction, I might go somewhere else. So what is your obscure one?
I mean, I didn't go like way obscure, and I guess it still falls under 90s pop. I had this in my crate, Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe. I mean,
no, I would agree that's not very obscure. That almost made my
top list.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's certainly in that genre. Yeah. It's certainly in that time period. So I went with C'est La Vie by Bewitched. That's the song.
I need to do better.
If I want to impress the crowd, but again, I'm not playing it.
No, I get it.
If the reaction to Wannabe has been tepid, then I'm not going there because I'm going to clear the dance floor. But if I know, I'm in my this crowd,
I'm in the bag, right?
Then I'm going C'est La Vie, Bewitched. That's another one where they go, oh man, you remember that? So and like I said at the top of the show, I think that's what we're all looking for without clearing the dance floor. That's the balance that we need to find as the DJ. Surprise them, but not so much that they walk off going, who remembers this song?
All listeners, recorded and live. I will do a better job next time on digging into my obscure bag. Jody's over here in the chat on Facebook.
Hi, Jody.
Vegas, and he threw out "Hit Me, Baby" one more time. Right. Any Britney, obviously from that era is going to
definitely. Yeah.
That I do it live just because it makes me feel more like a man. But that Party in the USA where they loop the end. And a Britney song was, and then you go into that boom, and people just go mental over that. All right. Anyway, thanks for all the comments in the Facebook Live.
Yeah, I'm not watching, so I'm gonna have to go back and
It's nuts.
Pick up some more tips. So our last genre that I asked Joe to give me two populars and a no-brainer is new millennium punk pop, whatever we're calling that. Rock / pop music from the new millennium 2000 to 2010, which to me, like we talked about, that's the age now that the brides are.
You're right.
It takes them back to their high school years. This music is red hot for me right now. It was hard just limiting it down to my two no-brainers.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Do you want me to go first here?
Yeah, go first.
Okay.
Mike.
So I went with the middle. By Jimmy Eats World.
Yes.
Jimmy Eats World, right? Yeah.
Yes, Jimmy Eats World.
All the small things. Like 182. I was this close to including Mr. Brightside. That was if I was going to give you three no-brainers, that was my third no-brainer.
Sure.
So those are my no-brainers. What is your no-brainer when you hit this genre?
So for me, man, I actually really like this kind of music. Like I still ride around and listen to these bands. Semi-Charmed Life. And there's so many different versions. Like there's one that kind of starts with a beat and then it just goes into that, almost like an acapella where he goes, I want some. Anyway, Sugar We're Going Down is like
great. See, now I would consider that a little obscure though.
Really? Okay.
I almost considered that for my obscure one because I don't think that was ever that big of a hit. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that to me, I wouldn't start my set with that. I would make sure that they're into this genre before I just played that Saturday night, by the way.
So did I.
But again, I made sure that they were into this genre before I went there.
Sure.
Just my opinion.
I think I was coming out of a hip hop set Saturday and I have an edit of Wow, Post Malone. And there's a line in the song where he goes, 7 something something pumping Fallout Boy, and then they loop pumping Fallout Boy, and then it goes chicka chicka man.
Very cool.
On the dance floor. Anyway,
cool. I can't believe you don't record these and put them up for us.
What am I doing,
Joe?
Right. My
what's your obscure.
My obscure is one of my favorite songs from this genre. And I'll give you a quick story of it. I was at a restaurant, a really small restaurant at the beach one night. I'll never forget this story. And my best friend and I were there, and he had a ton to drink. I had not. He sells software. I'm a professional DJ. And we get into an argument about this song. And he claims that it's Blink 182. And I'm like, Kevin, it's not, man. And he's at this point, we're starting to get loud. Super small restaurant. Waitress literally comes over and goes, guys, settle down. Because I'm screaming across the table, you're a effing software salesman. Don't make me do this. I said, and I knew he had a ton of money. I'm like, $1,000. And when you lose, I said, I'm a professional DJ. When you lose, we're going to the ATM tonight. You're going to get my money. So we get back to, this was way before like everybody had songs on their phones. This was the era of the original jog wheel iPod. We get back to the condo where we're staying at the beach. He goes and gets it. He dials up this song, which is My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. And he had downloaded it from Napster, and it was.
Oh, yeah. Napster used to screw things up.
So yeah. I could, by default, I was like, dude. And so I pull out mine, and I'm like, here, this is what it is. And I just didn't take his $1,000, but Lit, My Own Worst Enemy. Like, car is in the back. Front yard, backyard, whatever it is.
To me, the classic Napster screw up was Dancing in the Moonlight. Yeah. Always came up as Van Morrison.
Yeah, you're right.
But the original is what? King Harvest.
King Harvest, right.
But yeah, it always came up as, and so people would say, no, it's Van Morrison. No. Moondance is Van Morrison, Dancing in the Moon. All right. So that's your obscure one. I love it. So I'll give you 2 obscure ones. I'll give you obscure and then super obscure. Mm-hmm. I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness.
Yes.
Kicks ass. I have a redrum of that, so it helps me beat it in. And then super obscure, if this crowd is loving this genre, song called Chelsea Dagger by the Fratellis. It's a Scottish band that never even charted here in the States, but it was a big hit over in the UK and Scotland. You'd recognize.
Oh, I know that song.
Yeah. Again, they have to be
right
in this genre, but if they are, that's where I go. And again, I get those people turning around going, oh man,
yeah.
So
I totally remember that now that you sing the melody. If you do like this kind of music, by the way, guys, I know you're going to think anyway, Machine Gun Kelly's brand new record is unbelievable.
I've only heard the single off of it, but it is that good, huh?
Dude, Travis Barker from Blink 182 produced it. It is as good as any pop punk Blink 182 record.
I need to download the whole album.
I'm telling you, it is fantastic, and I hate him as a rapper. Like, I think he is trash. I think Eminem buried him after that last battle. Like, he should never go back to trying to rap again type thing. But this pop punk record, Tickets to My Downfall, I think it's what it's called.
Stern had him on
so good
promoting it, and I had a tough time listening to the interview. He's really full of himself.
Yeah, he's a punk-ass kid.
Kelly. He's really
he's a
full of
punk-ass kid.
Yeah.
I used to have a friend in college named Machine Gun Kelly that sold pagers. I think he's in jail now. Anyway,
definitely not the same guy.
Not the same guy. No, he's definitely in jail.
I think this was good, Joe.
Yeah, man.
I think this was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the research, putting it together, and I enjoyed your especially your obscure ones. So let's tease next week.
You do that because I can't remember.
You forget.
I know we talked about it. I'm sorry, man.
We did recently 2 shows about sales.
Yes.
And Vicky.
Yes.
Musni. Rhymes with, Musni. Emailed both Joe and I, and she said the shows were great, but you're both coming at it from a multi-op point of view. You should have a single op on. Somebody who strictly sells him or herself to talk about sales and talk about their process. And I said, Vicky, that is a fantastic idea.
Great idea.
So I reached out to a good friend of mine and somebody who has a very successful company named Jim Cerrone. I probably shouldn't even have to give you his bio because anybody in the industry should know Jim. and Jim will be on. He's agreed to come on next week. He gave us a long rider, and we've met all of his demands. And he will be on next week. I am honored. Jim is a professional and somebody I consider a friend, and I'm excited about having him on next week.
Me too.
Specifically to talk about sales, his sales process, if you will. So super psyched about that. Another sales-oriented show coming next week.
Awesome. So thank you guys. Thanks everybody on Facebook. The comments and the songs you guys suggested are amazing. Mike's going to cut this thing together and we'll get it out soon. But thank you,
I think
everybody.
what I'm probably going to do is only put snippets of the obscure songs because no DJ needs to hear September to be reminded of it. But the obscure songs, I'll probably drop those in.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for listening. Again, turn in your submissions to the intro outro contest to Mike@eliteentertainment.com.